Come on, we're so excited to have you there. Okay, so I'm gonna put this over to, I'm gonna try to share my video and do presentation at the same time, so bear with me because I've been having problems getting my PowerPoint to run. But I'm gonna try really hard. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen, right? No, we're gonna go into PowerPoint. Maybe. Okay. Yep, I'm having problems getting this thing to go, dang it.
Don is not in here. I see, I didn't see him anymore.
Okay, and then we're gonna do play from the start.
He sent me something challenging, but I don't know where he is.
I did this again. I don't know why it's doing that.
Should I just put my iPad in?
There.
Let's see.
Okay, I'm just gonna move this over here. For Matt. Okay, so like I said, Mrs. Osterheis, you guys all got a book today that it says keep this book for the next 3 years because this is the only hard copy you're going to get of the course and career guide for high school. That doesn't mean you're not going to have access to one each year. So once you get to be a sophomore and a junior at the high school next year, you're only going to get this book online. So there are going to be part of the book is going to always be here that you have it in a paper copy. All right. It used to be that we didn't give anybody a paper copy. And we were like, that would be really nice for the freshmen at the beginning of their high school career, coming into the high school, you would have a paper copy of this book. So please hold on to it. So we're going to be talking about scheduling, like I said. We'll see if we can get this thing to go. Oh my goodness. This is like it's stuck. No,
Swipe. It just came up.
Next.
That didn't work either.
No. How weird is this?
Are you down?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna try. This is what happened last time too. It was really weird. Okay, I'm gonna have to do it like this, you guys, because it doesn't seem to want to go forward for me and the other way. So I have students with last names A through GE. How many of you guys have last names A through GE? Good. Then you guys will have me for the next 3 years for your counselor. Last names GI through LO is Mrs. Banks. I'm going to encourage you guys to write that somewhere, like on your sheets or. Okay. Last names LU through SH is going to be Mrs. Devine. And then SI through Z is Mrs. Davis. So write down your counselor's name based on your last name. Yeah, this is somewhere where, you know, if you're later, you're going to be like, oh, I need to talk to my counselor. Who is it? Okay, yeah, put it in your book that you're going to keep for 3 years. I like that. Today's agenda, we're going to talk about the scheduling timeline, graduation and college requirements, course selections, and then the new courses that we're offering that we're kind of excited about for next year. All right, so the timeline is pretty quick turnaround. You guys have to have these sheets are due by, or your courses have to be inputted into Infinite Campus by April 19th. That does not give you a ton of time. So we're going to get through some of it today and have you registered for some of your class or get it written down at least. But it's a pretty quick timeline. All right. Today, we're going to talk about high school as your primary placement for next year. If you guys are interested in learning more about the EVA options, which is the Everest Virtual Academy, which is an online, fully virtual experience, and I'll show you in a little bit where you can find the links to that. But today, we're going to be talking about being primary placement in person at the high school for next year. That being said, high school students next year can take up to 2 online courses per semester, not EVA courses, online through Canvas. So those are going to be different. And those are going to show up on your course selection sheet. And we'll talk about that too in a little bit, okay? So you are going to have some online options for next year, even though you're going to be a primary placement in-person high school student. Okay? Okay, so we talked about this a little bit. Your courses must be entered by the 19th. Then on April 26th, and during ELT, you're going to get a course verification sheet. That's going to be a sheet that says, it's a printout of everything you put into the computer. And it's going to say, is this what you meant to sign up for? If there's a mistake on there, then you can, that's the time to get that fixed. Because then after April 30th, there's not going to be any chances they're going to lock you guys out of the system. And what you took is what they're going to schedule you for. All right. Because that's when we build our master schedule. And then the master schedule decides, what teachers teach which courses did we have enough students to run. So it's all based on what kids pick by April 30th. So again, kind of a quick turnaround time. Registration that you can do also in Infinite Campus, and that's good. That info I'll show you in a little bit where that's going to be on that website. But you can register for your sports teams next year. You're not going to be held to that, so that's not going to be like April 30th. Sorry, we don't make any changes. And that doesn't mean that you can't add into a sport next year. I think it's going to be for the athletic department to make some good planning. So if you know I'm going out for basketball next year, go ahead and you can register for that already. So graduation requirements. How many of you guys already know kind of a little bit about this? Have a feel for it for when you get registered for this year? So when we're talking about earning credits for graduation, that starts with this year as a 9th grader. Even though you guys are housed here at the junior high, you are part of the high school. You are earning credits towards graduation right now. Right? And remember, a semester-long class is worth a half a credit. Okay, so every semester, so even like English 10 or English 9 that you guys are in this year, you get a half a credit for each semester that you pass that class. So in English 9, by the end of the year, if you pass both semesters, you're going to have a full credit of English. So this slide kind of breaks it down. Where do those 23 and a half have to come from? So there's going to be 3 credits for English, 3 social studies, 1.5 credits in Phi Ed, half a credit of health, financial literacy, half a credit, and then you're going to have 8 extra credits that you get to pick. The way to think about those 8 elective credits, those are in addition. Anything you take in addition to these required areas count towards the elective credits. Okay, so say that I just really love science and I'm going to take another year of science. I'm going to take 4 credits of science. I only needed 3 to graduate, so that 4th year is going to show up as an overflow as an elective. Okay, so it's going to still show on my transcript that I took an extra science class, but I'm going to start chipping away at these 8 extra credits by taking that science class. So please try not to get hung up on, I've had students every year that will come to me and be like, I can't take another science because I need to fulfill my elective areas. Anything extra will count as an elective. Do you guys have questions about that? Because it's a little bit confusing. Okay. So there's a sheet that you have in your handout, your white packet, for graduation requirements. And it's the only one that you have in color in that little white packet I gave you. So that sheet's going to describe the highlighted classes that you as a sophomore next year are going to need to take for sure. All right. So you know that you need next year or a year of math. You need 3 credits of math to graduate. You've had a year of math this year. You are going to take a year of math next year. And that course would have been given to you by Mrs. J. Puri. So you know you're going to take math. Social studies, grade 10. This is the one where it gets a little bit tricky. Because you have a lot of different options as a 10th grader for your social studies requirement. I would say that the bulk of the sophomores are going to take global studies. It's a required class during sophomore year. It meets for 1 semester. So this is like that one weird year where you're only going to take a semester of social studies, unless you pick the other courses that are highlighted on your sheet. You could take AP European History, AP Human Geography, or AP World History. Those also meet that requirement for your sophomore year. However, those meet for a whole year, okay? So they take up a semester 1 slot and a semester 2 slot. I would really encourage you to all be talking to your current social studies teacher. But I'm not going to lie, they're a lot of work. There's a tremendous amount of work that goes into those classes. And that work starts in summer. So if you register for AP Human Geography next year, that teacher is going to contact you over summer, and they're going to say, here's the work that we need to start doing the summer homework. That's going to be true in just about every AP class. There's going to be some summer homework at the high school level. So keep that in mind. You know, if that is not your thing, or you're just like, ooh, that might be a little much, think about that much time you're going to have. So social studies, then we go down to science. You guys are in physical science, either honors or regular right now. So biology, if you're in regular physical science this year, then biology, it's a full year class, is going to be what you're going to take next year. If you are in honors physical science and it's going really well, then you're going to want to register for honors chemistry next year. Okay. I would really talk to those science teachers that you guys have right now just to make sure you're making a good choice. Okay. And then we have English. Really easy. You're going to take English 10 or English 10 honors. And again, I would talk to your teachers about which one you want to take. Okay, so those are really easy to decide. Then we have Phi-Ed. To graduate. A half a credit you'll have taken during this year, your freshman year. So then you have to take 1 more credit at some point during your high school career, okay? Fitness for Life is the prerequisite, the course you have to take before you can take the other courses. So lots of times sophomores will get that one taken care of right away during their sophomore year. Okay, you can take additional science or Phi-Ed, not a problem. But you have to take Fitness for Life at some point plus 1 other class. Okay, and then we have, I have to look at what I have on my sheet here because I can't see it big enough. Health. Half a credit of health is required at some point during high school. Lots of times sophomores will take it because they want to make sure they get some of those requirements out of the way so they have more room in their schedules for junior and senior year to take electives. But you could take it at any time. And then that financial literacy, there's a half a credit that you have to take at some point. And there are quite a few classes that meet that requirement. So I'm going to point out a little bit about financial literacy. So if you look at that sheet right now, there's Finance DE, dual enrollment, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. There's Consumer Education, AP Macroeconomics, or Personal Finance and Economics. Now that one is under the social studies. And it's a class that I want to call twofer. It counts for 2 places. It's a half a credit, it's a semester-long class, and you're going to get both the financial literacy taken care of and the social science half credit taken care of. Okay, but not to take care of your global studies. It's at some point usually during your senior year, you have to take a social science, like sociology, psychology, criminal justice. This class meets both of those requirements, the financial literacy and the social science. So it could free up your schedule a little bit senior year if you take this class earlier. Okay, so something just to think about. Okay. Let's see, we'll go down to this one. So college requirements. I'm not going to talk a ton about this because you guys can look it up in your books, that kind of thing. But I'm going to make a really general statement right now that the courses and credits that we require for you guys to graduate from DC Everest are going to meet the basic admission requirements to most 2-year and 4-year colleges. Okay, so did you hear I said most? You really need to look at individual colleges because they might have some additional credits that they would like you to have to get in. So it's going to be kind of school dependent, but in are going to be the courses that they require for admissions. Unless it's found like a school, I'm going to give you two examples that are a little different right now. UW-Madison is going to require some more coursework, particularly in foreign language, and they're going to want the 4th year of math. University of Minnesota, Twin Cities, they're going to require 4 years of math, and they're going to have a foreign language and a fine art requirement. So just something to keep in mind, and I bring up University of Minnesota because we pay in-state tuition to go to a public school in Minnesota. So I don't know if you guys have gotten to that point looking at colleges at all yet. You're not behind if you haven't. It's okay. But to pay in-state tuition is a huge advantage at an out-of-state school. Otherwise, usually the tuition more than doubles if you're from out of state to go to an out-of-state school. Minnesota, we have a reciprocity. We have an agreement between the 2 states. Okay, so all registration material are available online, and those you're going to be able to find at this address. Otherwise, you can go to, let's see, whoopsie. Let me go back a sec. Nope, not going to go. Here, I should be able to find it now. If I go to Google here, and we go to, I'm going to go back one page and show you on the high school homepage. So this is the high school homepage. And if you look right, here's the tree on the left. And then right under that is secondary course registration information. So the things that we've been going through, you can find links to just about everything. If you lose a copy of your course selection sheet, your course planning sheet, you can find back there. You can find an online version of that course handbook. Okay. You could also find some videos right here. They're YouTube videos that different departments made just to give you an idea of what the different departments are highlighting, some of their courses, giving you some descriptions of their departments. Not a bad idea to look at them. They're like 1 or 2 minutes long. I'd really encourage you guys to take a look at those. And athletics is down here. And there's an athletic selection worksheet. It will have the numbers that you need to put in. If you know for sure right now that you want to like put that into Infinite Campus, you can do the athletic sheet. Okay, and then the different learning options are there. the senior high school. That's what we're talking about right now. But you can also look at the Everest Virtual Academy, EVA. There's a link there to go to EVA. So all this is on here, and then there's going to be a recorded schedule presentation that will be uploaded here too. So if you kind of wanted to hear my voice again and just relive this whole hour, you could do that. Or if your parents had questions, or you had a friend that didn't come today, that's where they could go ahead and look at this presentation. All right. So I'm going to try to go back to where we were kind of. Okay. Do that. In your book, the career clusters are described too. So remember we talked about those videos a little bit, but the career clusters are listed in your book. Might be helpful if you know, like I want to really see what would I have to take to go in, let's say arts, AV, tech and communication. It'll give you some suggested classes during this hour, but I would take some time to look over the career clusters and selected course selections. Also, if you guys are thinking about playing college sports, take a look at the NCAA requirements, okay? Because there's some definite requirements, especially for Division I or Division II athletes. Talk to your coach. Page 17, the LADA program overview. How many of you guys kind of know what the LADA thing is? Talked about it a little bit, classes. Okay. So the LADA program is a distinction at graduation for kids who have taken certain courses and earned a certain GPA. And then at graduation, you could be recognized as like summa cum laude, magna cum laude, whatever it might be. Okay, so that is described there. AP courses are on page 12. Certifications, we'll talk about that a little bit on the next slide too. The honors program, dual enrollment. Okay, so this is kind of an important one. You guys don't have dual enrollment classes here at the junior high. And you'll know because it will say DE after the course. Okay, so an example would be that finance class. Or I'm going to find another one on the front page of your course selection form. If you look under Agri Science, there's a large animal science class and it says DE, second class in the Agri Science department. All right, dual enrollment. That means that you're taking, for this particular class, you're taking a class, you're being taught the curriculum from NTC, and you can choose to do dual enrollment. You can choose to say, yep, I want to get credit at NTC and I want to get credit at the high school. Okay, so it's our instructor teaching their course at our school. You can always take the class and say, no, thank you. I don't want to do the DE part of it. Because you are starting a college transcript when you take a dual enrollment class. So if you're like, I don't know, this might not go so well for me, or I don't want to take the chance because I don't want, what if it doesn't go great and I started my transcript already at the college level? But if it's a course you're really going to love and you're like, yep, I'm gonna do my best at this and I know it's going to go it's going to be going well, ABC for a grade. I want to start my college transcript. Sign me up. It's a great way, you guys, it's a huge bang for your buck. There is a cost involved and it's cool. We do have like a dual enrollment physics class next year through, I believe it's through Oshkosh. That class would cost you, what did you think, Mrs. J. Puri, about $1,200? Per class. You can take that class if you take it through us for $125 and you will get those credits through the UW system. That's a tremendous, huge money saver. Okay, so pay attention when it says dual enrollment. On page 21, there's some work-based learning. Those are for juniors and seniors, but it's not a bad idea as a sophomore going to be a sophomore, take a look at those to make sure if that's something that you'd like for junior or senior year. You kind of like to have a job and get credit for having a job, maybe have your schedule be a little bit shortened during the day to leave to go to a job. There's some prerequisites that have to be met before you can do that. So it's not a bad idea to read up on that. Okay, so course selection sheet. If you guys would take that out, write your name on it. It's two-sided. It's going to look different than this one because this is the grade 12 one. That's what we put here to the side, but yours is going to look a little different. This course selection sheet has the. Notice I have the 12th grade one up here for an example. It has different classes than maybe what you're seeing on your sheet because seniors can take anything, you know, like junior, because some classes might be junior or senior standing and sophomores can't take it. So if it's on your 10th grade sheet, you may take it. You're qualified as a sophomore to take that class. All right, but some things I want to point out, I want you to put your name on it because this sheet you're going to turn in. Okay, you're going to circle the classes that you signed up for in the system, and you're going to turn this in to your ELT teacher next week, okay? So I would, if you're going to write that now, maybe do it in pencil in case you want to change some things. But there's some things I want you to look at. Full year classes are bolded on that sheet. So an example would be, remember we talked about you guys are going to take English next year. So it's going to be bolded and there's going to be an S1 and an S2 after it. That indicates that it meets for a full year. You have to sign up for both semesters. Okay. Another thing to look at is a P, prerequisite. That means there's something that you have to have taken before you can take that class. An example would be Art Explorations 2D. You have to have taken Art Foundations, and it will say that in the book. Okay, but that P indicates that there is a prerequisite, so you're going to want to check that. The other thing is if it's graduation, you'll have an asterisk by it. You can look for that. All right, online courses will have an OL in front of them. I'm sorry, in the description, not necessarily in front of them. So let's look at English right now. If you look on your sheet, it will say English, and then there's like a line, a blank line, and then it will say online options. So if a subject area has online options for next year, they will be right below the other courses. So English has English 10 online and creative writing online. So those are the courses in the English department that you could pick. English 10 is required. Creative writing could be an English elective that you want to take next year. When you sign up for this, make sure that you get the right one, okay? Because right now what happens in the system, you might type in English 10 and it will bring up all the options. You have the online, and make sure that you're clicking the right one, okay? For the in-person versus online options. And remember, we talked about before, you can take up to 2 courses per semester online. Not EVA, but all right. So that kind of shows you on that. So this is the sheet that you're going to fill in as we go. It's going to ask you to also fill out 4 additional alternate classes to be considered. Okay, so think hard about those, because if you put them on here as an alternate, it needs to be a class that you're willing to take. Last year I had a student that put down lifeguarding as one of the alternates, and then it ended up coming into their schedule, and she came in and she said, but I can't swim. Like, well, that probably wouldn't have been a very good alternate to pick. Okay, so we definitely made a change on that. Take a class that you're actually willing to take, you know, like if you're runner-up, okay? We've got some new courses. They're all kind of new to you guys for next year, but when we go through the upperclassmen, we go through some of the classes that they haven't seen before. But there's some really new, interesting classes that are going to be offered. mostly for the upperclassmen. So now we're going to get down to the nitty gritty. We're going to actually start to get some stuff on your sheets, okay? All students will have a 30-minute ELT next year, just like you do here. So that being said, you're going to have 30 minutes that you could use. You could go to, talk to teachers, you could get help, you might want to make up a test, whatever it might be during that time. All students must register for 6 to 7 credits. We have 7 hours in our day. 6, a maximum of 7 credits. Okay. So keep that in mind. Even if you're going to take some online classes, those are credits that count in your day. They might not count in your physical day, but you can't take more than 7 credits, and you can't take less than 6. Math will not be preloaded. We talked about a little bit about that before, that your math teacher gave you a recommendation. This is probably the most confusing thing. If you want a study hall next year, you could have one. So if I decide I want to take 6 credits and I'm going to take a study hall all year, I'm going to sign up for study S1 and study S2. That way the computer will make sure it puts it in there for me. And I'm going to have 28 units. You know, when you go into Infinite Campus, you guys probably remember that from doing that last year. If I only want a study hall one semester, then I'm going to sign up for 26 units. And then I'm going to call it good. Because the computer is going to pick where that study hall is going to fit. If you sign up for the 26 units and then you throw in a study hall S1, there's a really good chance that that study hall is going to block out something else that you could have taken, like one of your electives that you wanted. And my guess is that you guys would much rather have the courses that you picked rather than having a study hall. Study hall one semester, you're just going to pick 26 units and let the computer check where that study hall is going to be. Do you guys have questions about that? You okay? All right. Responsible scheduling. I know you guys are going to be responsible about this, but I'm really going to encourage you to think about, sophomore year is a big year. It's a big change from the junior high. You've got a lot more classes to pick from, just a different format, that kind of thing. Think about how much time you need and how much homework you can really handle, right, for next year. Think about, do you have a job? Are you going to get a job? Do you go out for sports? Are you involved in clubs? Student council is really cool at the senior high, because I advise it and we have a lot of fun. But think about classes that you might need. How, do you need movement during the day? Lots of times kids do better if they have, you might be one of those kids that you're like, I'm going to take Phy-Ed every semester, every year, because I need that movement during the day. Take classes that you enjoy and have interest in. Changes are not allowed after April 30th. Because we're going to build that master schedule based on what kids picked, okay? COVID and having, the different ways that we've come back to school and cohorts and so forth. If you fail the class this year in the core areas, I'm going to highly recommend that you take it in summer school and get it made up, okay? Because summer school is 6 weeks, you guys, versus 18 weeks to take a class again. It's a third of the time that you could get that taken care of. So if you fail like E9, you're going to have to make up E9 at some point. Way better off making up that English credit in summer school and making sure your high school, you can have time to take classes that you want to take rather than having to, make up classes that didn't go so well. So summer school, I'm going to really encourage you guys to sign up for summer school. Also, when you're doing some of your planning, I know that some of the freshmen are not, this year you guys might not have 6 credits in your schedule. If that is you, and could very well been through no fault of your own, but because of the way scheduling went this year, some of you might be going to the high school with less than 6 credits. really think about how that's going to affect the rest of your high school planning. You've got 3 years left to get to that 23.5. So there might be years where, you're not going to be able to have a study hall, or you have a study hall just one semester, or think of, how those scenarios are going to play out. Okay. Okay, so what I'd like you guys to do is take a look at that course request sheet that you have in your packet. We're going to look at that right now, and we're going to look at the course selection form. And so my goal today is when you guys leave here, you're going to have a lot of your core classes kind of picked out, okay? So let's start with English. Here's an example. English 07 S1 and English 07 S2 is English 10 for next year. That's the class you're going to pick. I to write that in here. And I want you to circle it on here. If you're going to take the honors class, then it would be 09 instead of 07. But if you circle it on this sheet and you write it in here, we can start looking at what a full schedule is going to look like for you. Don't worry about the hours. You're not signing up for any kind of hours. This is just making sure you're getting the core classes that you need. Your question? Okay, so you're going to do, which English are you going to take? So circle that one. And then you're going to write, and shoot, actually exactly. Student deals that as to English. Okay. Do this in pencil, you guys, because you can always change it. Yes. Yeah. You're going to take this. You're going to take 2 sides. Okay. Let's go down to math. Okay, so you guys know you have your math, the suggested class right now in front of you from Mrs. Shea Paris. Let's circle that on the sheet. And then
make sure you're looking between geometry and intro to geometry. If I wanted to do an intro to geometry, it said intro to geometry on your clip. But as you're going into geometry.
okay, go ahead, make sure you circle it and then write it on your planning sheet. Social studies is on the back side of that course selection sheet. This is the one where you have to make some decisions. A lot of kids are going to go into global studies. That's kind of like the regular track. And that's going to be SOC 21 on your sheet. You're going to circle it and then write it in just for one semester on your course planning sheet. It's only going to take up 1 hour for one semester. If you're going to choose to take AP Human Geography, AP Euro History, or AP World, those are full year classes. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure you put them in both slots. You're going to put one here, and you're going to circle both of them on your sheet, like the S1 and S2. Science is on that second page as well. So biology or honors chemistry are going to be the 2 primary picks, okay? some question came up if I was going to take school leadership, school forest leadership. That's in addition to your biology or honors chemistry. Regular physical science, most of you are going to go right into bio next year. So it's a full year. You're going to circle the S1 and S2 and then write that into both semesters for your planning sheet. And if you are going to take school forest leadership, you can take that as well, but that's in addition to either bio or chemistry, okay? So with those 4 core areas, we have a lot filled out already, right? We already got 3.5 to 4 spots filled up here. You either have 4 full year classes or you've got, 3 full year and then that global studies for a semester. So that leaves you some room and you have some decisions to make. Not a bad idea to get that FIAD taken care of, that Fitness for Life next year, so that you can go on and take one more social studies, or sorry, physical science, FIAD class later in high school. So not a bad idea to get the Fit for Life taken care of. You have some decisions. Do you want to get your health? You could do that as well. You don't have to, but you could. So now you have, okay. I don't like this slide. I'm just going to quickly refer to it though, because it's important. After April 30th, you have to have your courses that they're going to shut you out of the system. You can't make any changes after that. We have a very strict add and drop procedure at the high school. So once you get your schedules for next year, which will come out in the summer, that is your schedule. If there was a mistake or, you know what I mean, like there was some pretty compelling reason why you couldn't take a class, well, we will have a conflict resolution day before school starts, where you can come in and meet with your counselor, that kind of thing, and we can take care of problems with it. So where I say there's absolutely no adds or drops, that's not true. It's just really special circumstances where we would allow a course to be added or dropped. Please know that if you choose to drop a class, like after the first 2 weeks of school, you would drop it with a withdrawal failure. So, like every year somebody will come in and be like, oh my gosh, I hate this class. I really wish I wouldn't have taken it, but if we're already in it by 2 weeks, the policy is it gets dropped with an F. So I always encourage kids to stick with that class, get through that class. You don't want that withdrawal F on that transcript. Just be real careful about the classes that you're picking. So I'm gonna give you guys some time to kind of go through some stuff and I can walk around and answer some questions. But lastly, when you go to that senior high website, if you wanted to take a look and you wanted to meet with myself or whoever your counselor is, in the student services section on the top right-hand corner of the high school homepage, it says student services, and there'll be a way to meet with your counselor. You can make an appointment. We could talk via WebEx, we could talk on the phone, we could email, that kind of thing. I really encourage you all to talk with your teachers and your parents about some of the courses that you're looking at. And, really your teachers that you have right here even know our high school curriculum pretty darn well. And Mrs. J. will be an expert at this by the end of the day. She probably already is. All right, so I'm going to end the slideshow right now, and then I'm going to go around and I'll answer questions. And if there are people that are on right now, the WebEx, if you guys want to ask questions, like if you want to put something in the chat, I'd be happy to answer some questions that way too. If I can figure out how to do it. So again, if anybody on the WebEx that has any questions, please type them into the chat and I'd be happy to answer them.